Here's what happens when one of the world's most famous volcanoes becomes engulfed in flames that can literally be seen from outer space. The catastrophic wildfire that erupted on Friday evening within the Mount Vesuvius National Park continues its relentless march across the iconic Italian landscape, creating a spectacle so dramatic that astronauts orbiting Earth can witness the destruction firsthand. The towering column of smoke billowing from this fire has become so massive that satellite imagery capturing the Gulf of Naples shows an enormous white plume stretching across the sky like a scar against the Mediterranean coastline. These haunting images have rapidly spread across social media platforms, serving as a stark reminder of just how severe this environmental disaster has become. But here's where the situation becomes even more complex. Despite around-the-clock firefighting efforts, 3 separate battle zones remain actively burning, each presenting unique challenges that are testing the limits of Italy's emergency response capabilities. According to Michele Di Bari, the prefect of Naples, who provided this update following an intensive meeting at the Rescue Coordination Center, the firefighting operations are currently focused on 3 distinct fronts. The first battleground stretches through the Valle del Gigante toward Monte Somma, where powerful Canadair water-bombing aircraft are conducting precision drops in an attempt to contain the advancing flames. The second front has established itself along the southern slope of the volcanic crater, where regional civil protection helicopters are engaged in a dangerous aerial ballet, swooping through smoke-filled skies to deliver water and fire retardant. The third and perhaps most frustrating front lies in the Vicinale area, where overnight winds breathed new life into flames that firefighters thought they had successfully extinguished, forcing ground teams to return to areas they believed were secure. And this is the part that has authorities most concerned. Investigators still have no clear answers about how this devastating fire actually started. The prosecutor's office in Nola, which has jurisdiction over this area of Naples province, has launched a formal investigation to determine the origin of the blaze that is now threatening to destroy one of Italy's most treasured landscape and cultural symbols. However, according to sources familiar with the investigation, no suspects have been identified and no specific criminal hypotheses have been formulated at this stage. The case remains wide open, pending a comprehensive report that will be submitted by the specialized Carabinieri forest units, who are conducting a thorough analysis of the fire's origin point and potential causes. The scale of the emergency response tells its own story about the severity of this crisis. Since the early morning hours of Sunday, an impressive fleet of 6 Canadair aircraft and 4 helicopters has been deployed in coordinated aerial operations. On the ground, 15 specialized civil protection volunteer teams have been mobilized through an extraordinary ministerial decree issued by the Minister of Civil Protection and Sea Policies, responding directly to an urgent request from the Campania regional government. The Fire Brigade has significantly reinforced its local presence by bringing in 2 specialized forest firefighting modules from the Tuscany and Marche regions, along with additional support teams from Benevento and Salerno provinces. But here's what most news reports aren't telling you about the broader implications of this disaster. On the health and logistical front, the mayors of the 4 municipalities most severely impacted by the fire have activated their municipal operations centers, establishing a continuous 24-hour medical station in the town of Terzigno to provide immediate care for both residents and emergency responders. The ASL Napoli 1 Centro Health Authority has made the residential facilities at Ospedale del Mare available to accommodate volunteers who have traveled from other regions to assist in the firefighting efforts. The environmental and economic consequences are already proving to be devastating for local communities who depend on the region's unique agricultural heritage. Coldiretti, Italy's largest farmers association, is reporting extensive damage to the prized Lacryma Christi DOP vineyard cultivation, and the timing couldn't be worse. This destruction is occurring just days before the crucial grape harvest season. The fire has also severely impacted cultivation areas dedicated to the distinctive Pellecchiella apricot and the renowned Pomodorino del Piennolo DOP tomatoes. Both products that represent centuries of agricultural tradition and significant economic value for local farming families. Perhaps even more troubling for the region's long-term economic health. Numerous agritourism facilities and wine-tasting routes are now at serious risk, threatening to deliver a crushing blow to the local tourism industry that depends heavily on visitors attracted to the unique combination of volcanic soil agriculture and cultural heritage. But here's where it gets controversial. This disaster at Vesuvius is actually just the tip of an iceberg that reveals a much larger, more frightening pattern across Italy. According to a comprehensive report titled Italia in Fumo, Italy in Smoke, published by Legambiente, one of Italy's most respected environmental organizations, the situation represents part of an alarming national crisis that many politicians seem reluctant to address directly. Their data reveals that between January 1st and July 31st, 2025, Italy has already experienced 851 separate fire incidents, consuming a staggering total of 56,263 hectares of land. To put this in perspective, this figure has already surpassed the total surface area affected by fires during the entire year of 2024, and we're not even through the peak fire season yet. Even more disturbing is the impact on Italy's most protected natural areas. The report documents that over 18,700 hectares of Natura 2000 protected zones, areas specifically designated for their unique ecological value and biodiversity, have been destroyed across 253 separate fire episodes. Legambiente has characterized this trend as chronic, a word choice that suggests these aren't isolated incidents, but rather symptoms of a systemic problem that threatens the very foundation of Italy's natural heritage. This raises some uncomfortable questions that deserve honest discussion. Are we witnessing the consequences of climate change, inadequate forest management, criminal activity, or a combination of all three? Should Italy be investing more heavily in prevention rather than constantly playing catch-up with emergency responses? And perhaps most controversially, are current environmental protection policies actually effective, or do they need a complete overhaul? What do you think is the real cause behind Italy's escalating fire crisis? Is this primarily a natural disaster exacerbated by climate change, or are there human factors and policy failures that we're not addressing honestly enough? Share your thoughts, and let's discuss whether Italy's approach to wildfire prevention and forest management needs a fundamental rethink.